This is a bit of a longer explanation to our 90-90 exercises, the tailbone release, and then tailbone release with the hamstring drag, and just building on from there. So I wanted to show you with a model that what we are trying to do is get mobility between these pelvic bones and the sacrum. So where you're laying the towel underneath your tailbone is going here, just under the sacrum, and that's staying super heavy. Now, we start by just breathing into these areas and trying to relax and lengthen the muscles, separating the sit bones here and melting around this towel. Then we're going to start to add a hamstring drag. So the hamstring attaches at the sit bone. So you're here, tailbone is super heavy, hamstrings, it should be really like that. Hamstrings attach here, and they're going to pull these bones this way while the tailbone stays really heavy. So at first you're going to try and get that engagement through these hamstrings way up top so that you do not see much movement from the towel. So if you were looking in a mirror, you wouldn't see all of this motion really happening. It's going to be a tiny motion of these bones relative to this stable sacrum. And now the reason that we want this mobility, many of us are clenched here and sort of stuck all back here. We really need some movement for our running, for our walking, for everyday life. So we need movement in these joints. So what we're doing is we're trying to relax the muscles that tend to be clenched and get relative motion of these bones on this bone, so that when we move, this bone can move relative to these. So I will demonstrate the exercise here. There's also a shorter video of just doing the exercise. So I'm supporting my sacrum with this towel and tailbone. I'm going to support underneath the highest part of my low back, which for me is a little bit high postpartum, so that I don't feel like I'm sort of crunching down or cramping in those muscles. So it's just really for support. So here we are, and I'm going to breathe, separate through the sit bones, and just try and melt, let that tailbone be super heavy, open up through here. Now we'll have something between the knees as well, and when you're squeezing on that, that helps also to open through that pelvic outlet. Now, engaging through the hamstrings, you can feel just above from the floor, above your sit bone, it's really below, where the hamstrings are. So you'll drag the heels down and a little bit back, almost like I'm gonna pull the chair this way, but I'm not gonna actually do that. So drag, feel that engagement, then recommit to that relaxing of the pelvic floor muscles, deep hip rotators, and glutes as you're lifting through those hamstrings. So now these bones are moving, but relatively the sacrum stays in the same position. After that, in a couple of weeks, we're going to work on actually lifting, but keeping those deep hip rotators, pelvic floor, everything relaxed. But we want to build on this. So we're starting this week with just that engagement of the hamstrings, relaxing of the glutes and the pelvic floor to get this relative motion. Sacrum is stable. These move on the sacrum.